Janet had always been a meticulous planner. She knew that balancing work and family life required a lot of coordination and sacrifice. But today, an unexpected change in her work schedule allowed her to leave the office early. As she drove home, she thought about surprising her children, Ethan and Emma, with an impromptu trip to their favorite ice cream parlor. Janet pulled into the driveway and noticed the house was unusually quiet. She let herself in and, with a soft call, announced her arrival. There was no immediate response. She figured the kids might be in their rooms, immersed in their studies, or perhaps watching TV. As she walked down the hallway, she passed by Ethan's room and saw it was empty. Puzzled, she moved towards Emma's room, but that too was devoid of her daughter's presence. A growing sense of unease crept over her as she made her way to the master bedroom. Pushing the door open, Janet was met with a sight that made her heart race. Ethan and Emma were lying on the bed, fast asleep. While it was not unusual for siblings to spend time together, what caught her off guard was the way they were positioned, arms wrapped around each other, with a look of serene contentment on their faces. At first, Janet felt a wave of relief. They were safe. But as she stood there, a nagging thought began to gnaw at her. She noticed that both children were fully clothed, yet the intimacy of their embrace felt out of place for siblings their age. Her mind raced with confusion and concern. She gently shook Ethan awake, his eyes fluttering open with a sleepy smile that faded as he registered the look on his mother's face. Emma stirred next, sitting up and rubbing her eyes, unaware of the tension in the room. "What is going on here?" Janet's voice was a mix of confusion and worry. Ethan and Emma exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of innocence and confusion. "We were just talking, Mom," Ethan began, "and then we fell asleep." Janet's heart pounded as she searched for any signs of something more sinister, but there was nothing overtly wrong. Still, the image of them in such an intimate position lingered, casting a shadow of doubt and fear. Unable to shake the unsettling feeling, Janet spent the next few days in a haze of anxiety. She scrutinized every interaction between her children, looking for any hint of inappropriate behavior. Her once peaceful home felt charged with suspicion. One evening, Janet confided in her best friend, Lavra, over coffee. Lavra listened patiently, her brow furrowed with concern. "Janet, you know your children better than anyone. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. But if you're really worried, talking to a professional might help clear things up." Janet considered Laura's advice and decided to contact a family therapist. Dr. Sarah Bennett was known for her compassionate approach and expertise in family dynamics. Janet hoped that Dr. Bennett could provide clarity and peace of mind. The following week, Janet, Ethan, and Emma sat in Dr. Bennett's warmly lit office. Dr. Bennett encouraged them to speak openly, assuring them that her office was a safe space. Ethan was the first to break the silence. "Mom, we were just talking about Dad," he said, his voice cracking slightly. Janet's breath caught in her throat. Her husband, Michael, had passed away 2 years ago, leaving a void in their lives that they were still struggling to fill. Emma nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. "We miss him so much. Sometimes it helps to talk about him together." That day, we were sharing stories and we just fell asleep. Janet's heart ached with a mix of sorrow and relief. She had been so consumed by her own grief that she hadn't fully grasped the depth of her children's pain. The embrace that had initially seemed so alarming was a manifestation of their need for comfort and connection in the wake of their father's death. Dr. Bennett nodded understandingly. Grief can bring families closer, but it can also create misunderstandings. It's important to communicate and support each other. Janet reached out and took her children's hands. "I'm so sorry for doubting you." "I let my fears get the better of me," Ethan squeezed her hand. "It's okay, Mom, we understand." Emma smiled through her tears. "We love you. Mom, we're a team, remember." Leaving Dr. Bennett's office, Janet felt a renewed sense of purpose. She realized that her children needed her to be present and supportive, not just physically, but emotionally. She resolved to create an environment where they could openly express their feelings without fear of judgment. In the weeks that followed, Janet made a concerted effort to spend more quality time with Ethan and Emma. They started a weekly tradition of sharing memories about Michael, turning their grief into a source of strength and unity. Janet also encouraged them to pursue their interests and dreams, fostering an atmosphere of encouragement and support. Ultimately, Janet's early arrival that day served as a catalyst for deeper understanding and stronger family ties. What initially seemed unforgivable was transformed into an opportunity for growth and reaffirmation of the love they all shared. Through open communication and mutual support, they learned to navigate their grief together, emerging as a more resilient and connected family. As the months passed, Janet noticed a remarkable change in her household. The tension that had once permeated their home began to dissipate, replaced by an atmosphere of understanding and empathy. Ethan and Emma, now more open about their feelings, seemed happier and more connected. Janet, too, felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. One sunny Saturday afternoon, Janet decided to organize a small family gathering at their home. She invited Lavra and her children, along with a few other close friends. The backyard buzzed with laughter and chatter as everyone enjoyed the warm weather and delicious food. Janet watched as Ethan and Emma played with their friends, their faces alight with joy. She felt a swell of pride and gratitude. It hadn't been easy, but they had come a long way as a family. Later that evening, after the guests had left and the house had quieted down, Janet called Ethan and Emma to the living room. They sat together on the couch, a comfortable silence enveloping them. "I've been thinking a lot about us," Janet began, her voice steady and warm. "About how far we've come and how much we've grown. I'm so proud of both of you. You've shown incredible strength and love, and it's inspired me more than you know." Ethan smiled, his eyes reflecting the maturity that had come with their shared experiences. "We've learned a lot from you two. Mom, you've always been there for us, even when things were tough." Emma nodded in agreement. "Yeah, we're a team. We always have each other." Janet hugged them both tightly, feeling the unspoken bond that had been forged through their journey. "I want you to know that no matter what happens, we'll always face it together. We're stronger because of everything we've been through." The weeks turned into months, and the family continued to heal and grow. Janet found joy in the little moments, the laughter over dinner, the shared stories, and the quiet evenings spent together. They began to create new traditions, finding ways to honor Michael's memory while embracing their future. Janet, too, found new purpose. She decided to pursue a passion she had long set aside: writing. She began to pen down their story, capturing the highs and lows, the love and the pain, in a way that could inspire others. Her book, titled Threads of Love, became a bestseller, touching the hearts of many who had experienced loss and found hope in its pages. Through her writing, Janet discovered a new way to connect with the world, sharing her family's journey and the lessons they had learned. She started giving talks and workshops, helping others navigate their own paths of grief and healing. Her work brought her a sense of fulfillment and connection, a testament to the strength that had carried her through her darkest days. Years later, as she stood on the beach with Ethan and Emma, now young adults, Janet felt a deep sense of peace. They watched the sunset together, the sky ablaze with colors, a beautiful reminder of life's ever-changing, ever-beautiful journey. "We've come a long way," Ethan said softly, his voice filled with gratitude. Emma nodded, her eyes shining with emotion. "We have. And we have each other to thank for that." Janet smiled, feeling the warmth of their love. "Yes, we do. And we'll always have each other, no matter what." In that moment, standing together on the beach, they knew that their bond was unbreakable. The challenges they had faced had only made them stronger, and their love would carry them forward, no matter where life took them.